So there's four major points I want to make about late payments on credit reports. And the first one is that I usually don't worry about late payments on credit that are over 24 months old. Here's why. I say usually, by the way.
Right.
And here's why I usually don't worry about late payments that are over 2 years old. The FICO scores are very much, what have you done for me lately? And the credit reports and scores are weighted more heavily to the most recent 2 years. Okay, so somebody may have 60 late payments that are over 2 years old. I'm interested in that. Okay, but if there's just some scattered late payments, and this is very case by case. It's why I study credit reports and ask questions. Typically, unless the late payment is fairly recent, the last year, the last 2 years, or a few of them, usually I'm not interested in those because that's not where we're going to get our massive FICO score increases. So the second point I'd like to make about late payments is that there's actually a lot of cases where the late payments are not accurate or they're unfair. And these points come out when I or one of my staff interviews the client specifically about why the late payments are there. And based on what the client says, we may very well get the late payments off the credit report, and it will be the company reporting the credit that willingly does it. This is human time. It's the correct human time on the phone and getting the power of attorney over to the bank or whatever.
And this is something you can help do that I may not be able to do myself.
Well, the typical credit repair, whether the consumer does it or has somebody else do it, is going to be to dispute the late payment, which we've covered. That's
right.
Illegal. It's a crappy tactic. It rarely works. Okay. So confronting the problem, bank of so-and-so reports 2 late payments here. What happened? I asked the consumer. Oh, my automatic payments failed. Really? How did that happen? Well, I upgraded my account at my other bank with my checking account, and suddenly the automatic payments stopped. And I didn't realize it for 60 days. And there's a 30-day late and there's a 60-day late. And I go, wow. Well, if that's true, we'll get the late payments off the credit report. Have you tried to do that yourself? And they go, yeah. The bank that reported the late payments refused to remove them. In almost every case, those late payments are going to be gone. We know the right department in the bank, and we deal with them regularly, and we should get that result. So this is case by case. So the third point to make about late payments goes back to the video entitled Disputing Bad Credit. What we need to assess, what we need to understand from the rest of the credit is, are we going to raise the credit scores enough anyway, even with those late payments there? And that is very much a case-by-case basis. And sometimes it's best educated guess as well. The client says, I need a 640 FICO score for my mortgage loan, or I need a 680. And my best guess is, yes, if we do everything else in the plan, and you, client, cooperate with the parts we ask you to do, then I think we're going to get there. I can accept this case. And if we're not sure about something in particular, maybe we'll attack that little problem first, right? Do we get the result? If we get the result, then let's do the rest of the work. Pay us for the rest of the work. Because now we've got what could have been an unsolvable problem out of the way, and we solved it. Now the rest of it's easy.
Right.
So sometimes I have to make my points by using actual examples. So this is another older testimonial from way back. And this was a client who called me who had automatic payments fail. Okay, and I didn't know then what I know now. And he had a 30-day late payment and a 60-day late payment on his auto loan. Okay, today, almost certainly those would be gone from credit, from what I've learned in the past however many years. Okay, but back then, it didn't really matter. actually, because so much other credit work resulted in what he needed. So 3 months later, the testimonial says his FICO scores went up 143, 147 points. I don't remember, it's on the screen there. And his wife went up, I think, 93 points 3 months later, despite the late payments still being on credit. So you see why I don't worry about 2-year-old late payments? We're talking 3-4 month old late payments, and the FICO scores are 90 and 140 points higher. Isn't that amazing? So the result is what's important. Do the FICO scores get to where they need to get to so the client can have what they want? That's what the company's all about.